We continue the conversation on the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone's details released on the just-ended voter registration exercise with the data captured of 3.5 million registrants, which includes 257,123 double registrations, leaving a final total of 3,268,855. So we're going to talk about this, and we'll be talking to political parties on their take on this. We're expecting to have Lawrence Lima, National Publicity Secretary of the ruling Sierra Leone People's Party, and Ahmed Cissé, National Elections Coordinator, All People's Congress Party, Interim Transitional Government Committee. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. How are you?
It's a pleasure. I'm sure you followed the release of the ECSL, and what's the feedback from the release of the ECSL, the data registration, the data captured by ECSL?
Well, for the records, I do not represent the ITGC. They're currently injuncted from all the activities. I do represent the party. Okay. So, yes. And yes, to say shocking is an understatement.
Shocking how and why?
Because we had, I would say, manuals, code of conduct, agreements, stakeholders' expectations, you know, and to see the data released to this level without strict adherence to what we've agreed inter alia is shocking.
And what you agreed upon and what's done, what's the difference? Where's the difference?
What we agreed upon is that we had an engagement prior to this, and we were sure that the possibility of multiple registrations are minimal, even if there are possible double registration. They're going to be sorted within the 48 hours. That was prior to the registration during stakeholders engagement meeting. Now, moving forward, we have a series of meetings during our political party liaison committee meetings, routine meetings, and they say, okay, we have issues because the computers were not live, they were standalone. The propensity for multiple registration exists. We agreed. But they say, you know, we'll go to the data center at Wellington. Therein, most of the discussion will be answered, and they will evidence multiple registration, say, okay, this is a clear case of multiple registration. As we will do in normal voting tally. Now, the normal practice, the statutory procedure during tally, and if there is any amendment on the RRF forms or voting materials, they will summon representatives from both parties, including observers. They said, oh, there is a problem here, and this is how it occurs, whether during tabulation, and this is where the agent mistake, and they amend it. You cannot amend such a document on behalf of political parties or representatives. So we went at the data center at Wellington. We took 14 days there. We were hoping that at the end of the process, at the tail end, they will come up and say, you know what, this is the evidence, this is the multiple registration, and this is how we delete.
What were the things being done during the 14 days you were there?
They had like series of computers. They have a joint operation with NAC and ECSL. Even that, we struggled to understand the procedure. There was no prior briefing as to what we're looking. You just go there. We're basically watching a paint dry. You just go there and sit and see a projector and they crunching numbers. And in the end, they say, go home, come back tomorrow. So we were expecting that they'll flag up this issue, say, oh, this is Momo Fode Johnson from Malama, Freetown, constituency 126 or 124. And he registered this center, and now this is Fode Momo Johnson again at constituency 101. He registered, and this is multiple registration. He was flagged through biometric, you understand, or date of birth, or this addresses match, and this is why we're going to delete the first registration. And that will make sense. We'll say, okay, that is our idea of transparency. We'll say, oh, well, that's fine, you can delete. Now, how could you delete a number when we've done our audit and we realized that close to 200,000 was shaved off the western area alone? That is a good chunk, 74% from north and west, multiple registration. Now, they said underage registration as well. Underage registration as well. From the north alone, 76% of perceived underage voters. So I think that these figures cannot go unchecked.
But these are not new. Even when the voter registration process was ongoing, there were concerns. The media reported that minors were being taken. Observers came to our studios, for example. They explained that they saw both political parties transporting minors to go out and register. So did this come as a surprise that the ECSL is now saying, wait a minute, we have seen from the data that we've gathered that there are people who did not and will not be 18 by June 24 of 2023. They registered. So we have to take them off because they did not meet one of the criteria which has to do with age and the issue of duplication of registration. Oh, again, that was why the commission said, oh, wait a minute, let's bring in the National Civil Registration Authority so that those who had registered with the NCRA would first off be verified that they've registered, and then their data just got transferred to the NCRA. But at the end of the day, that was also problematic. So did any of this come as a surprise that the ECSL is saying, wait, we had so many duplication, we had many minors who were registered?
That is not my point. I do not question the due process. You understand? And I would not here legitimizing an illegal process.
Okay.
Now, what I'm saying is they have a statutory obligation to ensure that political parties are fully represented and political parties be part of the process in interest of transparency. I always say this. It is a duty to all of us to ensure that the credibility of the commission is not eroded moving forward 7 months to the election, because that could be a national security implication. So we want to be, I mean, as representative of political parties, we want to testify on their behalf that, oh, the process is done in a way that we're satisfied. Okay, we have the right to say, oh, we also have a statutory, they also require to include us in the process. So if we're saying that, if the figures consistently shows that, now let's look at the demographics. There's more confirmation from the south and the east. You understand? And then less anomalies. And then there's less confirmation in the western area, greater anomalies. How about that for statistics? That is our point.
Is that deliberate?
And that is where the suspicion arose. And when we're not saying this is, we're just saying these figures need to be audited. It is our right. Now, the electoral laws are so neutral, they're so cogent that it gives political parties to completely satisfy themselves that the process is clear, transparent, and not biased.
Let's quickly welcome the National Publicity Secretary of the ruling Sierra Leone People's Party, Lahai Lawrence Lima. Good morning and welcome to the show, Lima.
Good morning, Samuels.
Continue to stay with us. Ahmed, let me just quickly ask this question. During the 14 days period you were with the ECSL, during the process of putting together the data, cleaning the data and all of that, when you were not really understanding what was happening, apparently you were just there, I mean, according to you, they were just crunching the figures in front of a projector, you were just, what is going on, and they tell you go home and come back. Was there any objection raised as to what is happening? Can you please explain to us what is going on so we have a better understanding to make input and raise objections where needed?
Yes, I was a team leader on day three. I went to the commission and called upon the director of operations. He wasn't there, but I spoke to 3 of his staff, and they said, oh, sorry, you were actually meant to monitor the process. So we'll now allow you to get off your seat and go around and see what is happening. You understand? Okay, we told our agent that, okay, maybe they've changed. And then they started monitoring. They go around and see. And then we'll ask them questions. Okay, where are these multiple registration? How do you flag this multiple registration? But I do understand the logistical nightmare. They were like 44 computers. You will not say any anomaly is flagged, you have to go there and stand, and it would stall the process. And they have limits, considering the limited time they have to complete the exercise.
Right.
And then they now came to us, they said, you know what, in the end, we'll do a tabulation, we'll give you a disaggregated sheet of all these anomalies and the center that were involved, so it'll be easy for the purposes of audit. Now, moving forward, we have exhibition in 2 days' time on the 24th. Now, you're going to exhibit 3.2 million voters, and you have only 4 days. And we don't even have a list of those people that were deleted, presumed to be multiple registration. We do not have a list of that, and you have 24. Now, let's say 3.2 million. Even if 1 second per registration will only give you 3,456,000 seconds. 1 second, not even 10% of the registrants. So how would you expect 4 days to verify and do amendments within 4 days, and we do not have a list? That is why we're saying that 257,000 must be audited.
All right, continue to stay with us. Let's bring in the mouthpiece of the ruling SLPP. So Lima, the Electoral Commission, Sierra Leone, has put out figures, the data for the voter registration exercise. First off, what does the SLPP make of the data being put out by the Electoral Commission?
Well, in the first place, we looked at it, and we're also tallying with what we have, because what we are happy about is the fact that the National Electoral Commission gave the opportunities to political parties to send in agents to monitor the registration process. And so if they have come up with their provisional figures, we also have to take time to look at that provisional figures in line with what we got from our agents to see whether it is aligned. And insofar, we've studied the process, the results together with what we have. We are satisfied, even though we continue to look at the result closely to see whether we'll notice any discrepancies. And so that's the beauty of the fact that we are given the opportunity to send in our agents to monitor the process. And at the same time also, the presence of the National Civil Registration also helped to securitize or sanitize the registration process itself. So now we are able to know how many eligible voters are there, and it also prevented any at least attempt of fraud, whether bringing in underage voters, because we saw that the machine picked it up. And when we were discussing these issues before now, these were some of the areas I raised that, of course, it's difficult to fraud this system because the machines will pick up any anomalies that is, or any wrong data that is input into it. And so of course, you will see the analysis from the provisional results of how many underage voters that one is picked out, and those areas where you have qualified voters. Now, of course, there are other views where people are trying to really connect these provisional results with regards to the census. So with census, I will tell you for certain that I went to Kenema to register, right, or to be counted. With voter registration, of course, given the fact that I have a job to perform, and the city center is very essential when it comes to electoral period, and with regards to my job, I continue to be in the job till that time. Of course, I'll be required to vote here and to be able to attend to my duty functions. So similarly, with so many other people, the same. A lot of people went to their various hometowns and villages to be counted, and when it comes to voter registration, they decided to register here. So the issue where people are trying to juxtapose the registration of voters and as well as census is really not much something one has to go by, especially when you look at the exigencies of what I have just outlined. So insofar with the provisional results that is out, and with regards to the analysis that is given, so far we are satisfied as much as we continue to look at what we got from our agents.
All right. Now, with that satisfaction, and your main rival is crying foul in the sense that the way the process was done in cleaning up the data and putting it together, I mean, it breeds suspicion in the sense that they, if Samuel Wise Bangura has been detected as a double registrant or duplicated his registration exercise, that would have been brought up to them. Oh, Samuel Wise Bangura registered number 3 Wesley Street. And also we've seen Samuel Wise Bangura registered at Fairway School. They should have brought those things up so that they understand, and in fact they can confirm or give clearance. Yes, you can delete because we've seen these are clear evidence to show, but that was not done. So during the monitoring of your process, I know you were also represented there in that 14 days when the data was being put together. Were there issues of discrepancies, or were you just okay with the process there?
That I told you that we sent in our agents. Much still are complaining. I told you, in as much as what we got from our agents, we were still continuing to study. But in so far, what is revealing, we are yet to pick up any issues to complain. But as we continue to look at it, probably we too may have issues of discrepancies that will bring up to the Commission's attention. So if we have issues, definitely we'll send it to the Commission's attention, and they will verify or audit the process and probably get back to us, because that is how it has been happening.
Okay. So Ahmed, at this point now, with these concerns, I also saw a letter from the parliamentary leader of the APC calling for an audit to be done on the data. So what do you look forward to see now with these, your concerns?
Well, we want the Commission to take our concerns seriously. We have a basis for that, because they breach every aspect of the code of conduct.
The Commission?
The Commission, in terms of how transparency, how we should move forward. Now, we're not asking for an arm and leg. We're just saying that, okay, give us a spreadsheet of these perceived multiple registrants, and then we can go to the exhibition centers and audit accordingly. Because we cannot, there's bound to be issues. Imagine if you register and you go there and you're... In 2017, we had a similar issue. In 2017, we had like an entire region, like 25 centers wiped off, no data. So upon exhibition, we realized that these people, the data were imported, exported to another computer. But we were armed with the provisional register. We know exactly how to tackle those scenarios.
Okay.
But now we're going to these centers without nothing, no detail. So if people showed up, and we only have 4 days, imagine, and all the centers, 3,630 centers are going to be run simultaneously for verification. So imagine the nightmare that will pose. That will be a doomsday scenario. People will be calling you all over trying to confirm what? If someone says, I came this morning and my name is not on the register, what will you say? What grounds do they delete? And then we'll go back to the Commission. As I said, it would be easy for us to actually vouch on behalf of the Commission.
Okay.
But in this time around, we're not, and talking about the census, our position remains unchanged. We know that there are skeptics will say that the figures are skewed to mirror the census. And you cannot dismiss that
in his favor.
in a hurry.
In his favor.
I'm just saying this, the data, the registration data are skewed to mirror the census.
And the census, we know the allegations.
But even the census, even that, when you look at the records, Ministry of Education, and public schools, you look at the registration, it defeats the census. So now the absurdity now, that's another topic, trying to allocate seats in by district based on a census or either of the census. That's I will not bore you with that for now. That's a whole debate.
Lima, does the SLPP have the data on the just concluded voter registration?
Yeah, the provisional result of the South is public record. It's in public domain. It's usually in public domain. So once it's in public domain, you have access to it.
I ask, let me be more specific. Details as to the double registrants, for example. Does your party have access to that data? As he put it, getting the data to understand the names that have been put forward as those who are double registrants, which could be used to juxtapose against what's going to be published in the centers to cross-check as a political party. These names, double registrants, and they're now going to the center to see the names published to be able to cross-check. Does the SLPP have access to that data?
Well, I am yet to verify that, because first of all, I don't even know whether the NEC provision procedure allows that, but if it does, then certainly if we are given that right, every other political party will be given that right, but I'm yet to verify that question.
Do you see it as something that the political parties need to have?
I am yet to make any opinion on that, because I don't know what the position of the law is on that, and I don't know what their policies is on that.
Yeah, and I'm not speaking about the law. I'm speaking about concerns by political parties. As we head to the election, that list, those names, that data is what's going to guide the electioneering process. That's what tells you, your audience, the people you're going to be campaigning to. That's what tells you your target you're supposed to set, the amount of people you need. So as an individual from a political party, do you see that data as something valid for political parties to have access to, especially when the exhibition process would start in no time?
But whatever NEC does, it should be for the interest of those who are concerned. So if the procedure requires that political parties should really have access to, I see no reason why they should even cherry pick who should have access to it or who should not have access to it. And if you were working for me and you have to work to my satisfaction, and the procedure actually determines the terms or in which we do business. So I am yet to really make any opinion on the questions you are asking, but as far as I know, NEC will have to work in the best interest of political parties and in the best interest of this country.
Let me re-guide that, Lima. Which is why the good thing is you're not here in your capacity as a government worker. You're here representing the political party SLPP.
Certainly.
You're not here as the minister, but from the SLPP. My question is not about NEC. Luckily, yesterday we had the Chief Electoral Commissioner. When we have questions for them, we'll direct it to them. But I'm asking you specifically as a member of a political party heading to a race with other competitors. Are you not concerned to know who are those people who are double registrants who are now put aside, one name because there's one other name in the system? Are you not concerned to have that data to be able to juxtapose that against what is going to be put on the voting centers, on the registration centers for clarification?
I will be of concern, but my concern largely will be what's my interest. Basically, if somebody is double registered, it's a violation of the law. So what's the position of NEC with regards to those who actually violate the electoral laws? Are they charged to court? Has the court looked into it? Because basically that is what you want to achieve at the end of it all. So definitely where people are caught being double registrants.
Just to clear that, yesterday we asked the Chief Electoral Commissioner. So what he said was those who were captured as double, it's not that they're eliminated from the system. Because you have double, one stays in the system and the double is what's excluded. So instead of you having an opportunity to come and vote twice because you're registered twice, your name is captured but once. So the extra is out of it, which is what comes under the double data.
But when you look at the provisional result published, after they've given you all the analysis of underage, at the end of the day, they give you a grand total of what has been certified as those who are free from, I think I got that, it's 3,268,855. This is what they certify that, of course, it has been confirmed and that are eligible to vote without involving in any voter fraud, in the sense that this number that they have certified here will not be chance or opportune to do double registrants, double voting, and at the same time also is clean of those underage. So for me, there is a clear pathway to go, that the number of people who are eligible to vote based on regional statistics that has been given, a grand total is given of those who are eligible to vote.
All right. Gentlemen, let's move on. There are a few things also that were put out by NEC, by the ECSL. So NEC, sorry, the ECSL is saying they've already developed regulations for the proportional representation system, the district block system, which I know the APC has problems with. So ECSL is saying, oh, okay, for members of parliament, the threshold is 11.85%, and also local councils are coming on the electoral, the PR system. That I mean, for councillors, it's about, I think, 4%, and also there is a clear chance for the participation of independent candidates. What does the APC make of these?
See, that's just justify our claims that this PR at this time is unconstitutional. See, now they hit a dead end. You cannot basically say that you are trying to make regulations, Section 38A, which they're relying on to usher in the proportional representation. They're just saying that they're going to redistribute the seats in parliament. Of course, I don't know where they came up with 135. That's another question, 135. Because I was in parliament during the enactment of the public election bill, and the speaker was on record saying they require 132 seats. And we went to a PPLC meeting 2 days ago, and they said, oh, it's now 135 seats. And there's procedure as well, but we can come to that later. Now, you're saying that you want to redistribute the seats, award the seats to the district block system. How you want to do that? Because Section 38 is silent on how you distribute. Why is it silent? Because let us look at the purposive construct of 38A. Okay, there were no data because of mere operation of the law under Section 38.4. Section 38.4 says where constituencies have elapsed 7 years, automatically there were no constituencies, and that was the prevailing circumstances in 1996 when they amended 38A. There were no data. So how now you want to bring in data by way of regulations? You cannot. That is an amendment of 38A. Now, NEC can do regulations. As it is now, they were the impression that with these regulations under normal parliamentary procedures for regulations, statutory instruments, the contenders require 2/3 majority. In other words, if you object, you require 2/3 majority. But if it's you cannot legislate. You can, yes, ECSL they have the powers to legislate. So it's any organs created by parliament. Now, if you're saying that you want to you want to distribute the seats using the previous census of 2015 going to 2018 census, and then the current 2021 census, you add together, you formulate a mean, and that's how you're going to distribute the block state. You're literally attaching a meaning to Section 38. And Section 108 of the Sierra Leone Constitution says, by mere referencing any provision of the Constitution, with or without amendments, require 2/3 majority of the House. Mere referencing, even with or without amendment. And now they are referencing. Now, let me see how it makes sense. Section 38 itself, subsection 3 of 38, made provisions how the country must be delimited into constituencies. That is, following a delimitation, the population quota, it must reflect the population quota, exactly how you delimit the country, how you allocate seats by constituencies. It is done so because the cherished legislators know that it has to be in the Constitution. Now, come to 38A, which is silence. You now want to amend it using regulations to mirror 38.3. You understand? 38.3 is so important how we have to allocate constituencies. It is embedded in the Constitution thereof. So now, 38A, the reason why 38, I just wanted to make sense. The reason why 38A is carved the way it is, because with the presumption as there are no data in the country, there's no data in the country, no population census, no valid population census, hence 38A.
So the ECSL has gone to submit to us. Yesterday, like Phoebe mentioned, we had the Chief Electoral Commissioner here yesterday, and according to him, of course, they were already on the plans were on the way to delimit boundaries. They've engaged political parties. They've set up a technical committee for boundary delimitation. That, according to ECSL, and but if they had gone ahead with that particular process, it would have meant two things. The voter register would not have been available early, and they would have not gotten enough time to conduct the election. So it would have meant that, for them, it would have meant that they would have called for a deferment of the date for the elections. Would you have accepted that
this
one?
is where the mischief came in.
How?
The previous delimitation exercise in 2015 was took about 9 months, pre-planned, and there was a world-renowned boundary delimitation expert was summoned in the presence of Professor Hannes of Oxford University. So the process of delimitation, ECSL should know that, will take like 9 months minimum. How will you engage us on the 10th of August? That was our first stakeholder consultative meeting on delimitation. And 2 months later, when you know that you cannot make election law 6 months prior to elections. You understand? You cannot. And you know you have 2 months, you only have 2 months. You have to consult, you have to engage stakeholders, you have to, when I mean locals, including chiefs, paramount chiefs, section chiefs, to see the demographics where it is geographically possible to position constituencies, then it's going to take 9 months. So they had the intention to evoke 38A. So they just want to use the due process as a decoy. Say, you know, let us just see to be seen to be engaging people, and later we'll say, because of we can, or whatever reasons, we cannot complete. Therefore, we're going to evoke 38A.
Right. Let's quickly
so that's a mischief
let's
right
quickly
there.
listen from the SLP side. What do you make of the details? I mean, the threshold of the PR system that has been put out by the ECSL: 11.85% for members of parliament, 4% for councillors, and the assurance that independent candidates are also catered for in the process.
So before I give what I make of, let me just give this analysis based on my own perspective. In the first place, I'm happy that my brother was able to contradict himself, that of course the decision of going by the PR system in itself is constitutional. By very referencing of Section 38A he was making reference to, which is a constitutional text that actually brings in the validity of the PR systems. Now, when you go to the first past the post, it's it's constituency based, right? And given the fact that time is constrained under the circumstance, and the work of the National Electoral Commission has to go on, certainly they decided to work on the mean of the previous census and the 2021 census to determine how seats will be allocated, right, with regards to the PR systems. And if this system has been in place and it has worked for this nation, also not just working on the political issues of this nation, but at the same time also had helped the security cohesiveness of this nation. And ECSL has come to make a decision that they are going by the PR system and working on the mean census and this census, then that is of the best interest with regards this nation, and also the best interest of even political parties who are involved. Now, coming to the issue as to whether there is no provision in the law for that, especially when it comes to PR system. Well, this is where also the delegated legislations or legislative power is also allocated to public institutions to actually make regulations that fill in the policies where there is gap or lacuna in the law. And so if the ECSL has come up with regulations to be able to work on the mean between the previous census and this census, and to be able to determine seat allocations, then that solves the problem.
So far, Lima, does the SLPP have any concerns with the ECSL regarding the coming election?
Well, the concerns will be there, but my view is if I have concerns with you, I have to pick it up with you. Probably it will be a misconception, but if I pick it up with you and then you explain to me what the procedures are, then maybe I will be satisfied. If I'm not satisfied with your explanation, then the law will direct me as to what will be the next step.
And as of date, what are the concerns the SLPP have?
Well,
regarding the CSL?
I can't sit individually to make any sweeping statement with regards to SLPP concern. That has to be unanimous with the party meeting and looking at what is going on, then what is the position of the party, and definitely will be published by way of press release of the party, and of which I'll be able to actually dabble into. But as it is now, I cannot sit here and just make any opinion with regards concerns of SLPP when I have not met with SLPP.
All right. Just quickly, Ahmed, what do you look forward to now? Where does your hope lie?
If we switch roles here, if I'm in the seat of SLPP, I will not raise any concern. As you said, he rightly said. Now, let me say, yes, you can make delegated legislation, but that should not derogate or abrogate a provision of the Constitution. That's the golden rule. Now, let me say, the concerns we have are genuine. We're not asking that they go, well, it is within our statutory requirements. We are saying that be transparent. Give us the breakdown of the data moving forward. Now, this ECSL have a history of not making sense with numbers, considering 2018 elections. Now, moving to these elections, and now you have numbers that we're saying, okay, look at the demographic, look at the list, the provisional register. Now, they disaggregate the unregistered underage voters, every district, 39 in the south. You know, that is, I mean, going a step further. Why can't you do the same? Why, I mean, we were asking, they could have done the same with the double registration. Even if they say, okay, this constituency had this constituency had this, and then we'll extract that number of double registration per constituency, and then we'll try and, I mean, we'll try and go down to the constituency and make sure that, I mean, at least that will help a little bit.
In what ways did you try to secure that data from the ECSL?
We have our data. We rely on the data they've provided, the provisional. And mind you, these are provisional. We have post-exhibition, there is an inquiry period whereby they have 4,000 rejection forms.
Have you communicated these concerns with the ECSL?
We have. And we have routine political party relations committee meetings, and we told them that we want this. They're yet to reply, to be fair to them. They're yet to say we cannot give you, or we will give you, or will not. But we're just expressing this concern because it's now in public domain. That's the position of our party, and our leader in parliament has also articulated that in writing. So, but in essence, we're still hopeful that they might just call us and say, you know what, yeah, you're right, this is the disaggregated version of the multiple registration we've perceived, and then that will aid the process. And then we'll be able to reconcile our figures. But as it is, our figure shows that 70% of that perceived double registration are from our strong western area and the north.
The western area is your stronghold.
No, I'm just saying it is traditionally the APC stronghold. That is uncontroverted. There's never been a time when APC defeated SLPP in Western.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a swing area.
Thank you. Thank you. Quickly, what's your party short lever?
Well, what we want to say is the fact that institutions should be stronger, and at the same time should have the independence to make decisions in the best interest of the country. And that is what because it's the SLPP government in power. That is what this government has assured, that decision made by the ECSL, even to go by PR, and how they determine seat allocation. No government is no government body is involved to determine that decision, and that is to show that as a government we respect the independence functionality of institutions, and those institutions should be strong to do their job, and which is the best way to go for this country. And so as a party, we will continue to monitor what is going on, and if we have concern, we'll continue to raise that concern with ECSL or any institution that is involved. Insofar with what is out now, we now know at least the targeted population that we will have to campaign, and so we continue to do our good work towards appealing those number of people who have to vote, so that even those areas where my brother is saying that is their own stronghold, at the end of the day they will be defeated, and they will have no option but to congratulate us again. So that's what I want to say.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure having both of you here this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.